a herd hierarchy, which I don't know why I love it so much. I don't know. It's just a top 10 list. Nobody cares, right? Except me. And so we do it every week. And for some reason, people freak out over it. It is great to have you in. So Albert Breer wrote a column, and we got to give Albert, who comes on the show every couple of weeks, credit for this. This is something that was out there, but he wrote about it, and he talked about Mike Shanahan is one of the great all-time coaches, and I tend to be a believer in it's not just about you in life. What is your legacy? What do you leave? Andy Reid's coaching tree is amazing. Mike Holmgren, Bill Walsh's coaching tree. Mike Shanahan's is just unbelievable. And Mike Shanahan, the legend, was in D.C. a few years ago when RG3 won Rookie of the Year with Mike Shanahan. And on that staff was Matt LaFleur, now coaching Green Bay, Sean McVay, now coaching the Rams, and his son Kyle Shanahan, very successful coach in San Francisco. And Mike runs, it's kind of the Shanahan offense. It's a zone run scheme with some West Coast principles. It's very complex. And the key to it is year 2. So it takes quarterbacks a year to figure it out. In year 2 of this system, Jared Goff with McVay got to a Super Bowl. In year 2, Matt Ryan with Kyle Shanahan got to a Super Bowl. In year 2, Jimmy Garoppolo with Kyle got to a Super Bowl. In year 2 with Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers is having by far and away the scariest season in the NFL. He's just great, at everything. And this is the offense that John Elway had, and in year 2 of it, Elway went 13-2. By year 3, Elway won the Super Bowl. By year 4, Elway had won back-to-back Super Bowls. So that's why we try to add context to this stuff, and Albert Breer, go read his column, did a great job. Some of this stuff is just hard. We don't have a preseason. We don't have camps. If you go look at Tom Brady's numbers this year, he's set to blow away all of Tampa's historic quarterback numbers, and we're all crushing him. So Goff, Matt Ryan, and Shanahan and Garoppolo in year 2 got to Super Bowls. Aaron's better than all of them, and in some cases, a lot better. Year 2, Matt LaFleur, absolutely on fire with the Mike Shanahan system. And what is also amazing is that the Washington football team had Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and Kyle Shanahan in the building at the same time. I may have wanted to retain one of those guys. Nothing against Ron Rivera, but it is an offensive league. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Well, Colin, there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating around out there in the world today.
Yeah.
And you proposed, I don't know if it's a conspiracy as much as it's a theory about what Bill Belichick and the Patriots might do.
Week 17, they play the Jets.
Week 17 to stick it to the Jets.
If they lost to the Jets wouldn't get Trevor Lawrence, and Belichick wouldn't have to face him in division. The Jags would get him.
Well, he's remained committed to Cam Newton as the Patriots starter so far. But Jarrett Stidham did get some action last week against the Rams. So, once again, Belichick was asked about the possibility of making a change at quarterback.
Talking about Stidham going into this game, it was a little bit different than maybe in that Chargers game when it was 45-0, but he was put in that game at 10 minutes because he felt like he gave you the best chance to come back and win in this game. Is that right?
Just want to give him an opportunity to play. So that's what we did.
Would there ever be a situation that you would be open to playing both guys, Stidham and Cam? Kind of like the same.
That's not where we are right now, so yeah, we're not there now.
Okay, so that's the key. We're not there right now. The word is now. If somebody went to you and with something, Joy, and said, and people thought, Joy may do this or that, and somebody said, Joy, are you going to do this? And you're like, well, I'm not there now. That basically, the now gives you the opportunity. You're not held to it. You're not culpable. You're not beholden to anything. Right now, I work here. I do this. I'm willing to go there. So Belichick is setting up a Week 17 start Jarrett Stidham.
The door is open.
Now.
That was not a conclusive statement.
Thank you.
You might be onto something there. In the current draft order is the Jets still have the number 1 pick. Then the Jags, and the Bengals, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, Falcons, Dolphins via Houston, Eagles, and Giants. That's the
Chargers have a lot of talent to be picking fourth.
I mean, they had a very, very rough season.
I know, but God, they got a lot of players, and they got the quarterback right. So, I mean, they could trade down, but I seriously, with the Chargers, how many players can make the roster? I mean, the outside offensive line, they may luck out and get that Penei Sewell, that left tackle. If the Chargers get him for Herbert and he gets the best left tackle prospect in 5 years, wow.
Well, the Bengals, Chargers, and we're assuming the Cowboys don't need quarterbacks. So that's 3 of the top 5.
But I would say this. The Bengals and the Cowboys, Joey, could benefit from moving down and getting multiple players. The Chargers couldn't.
Right.
What they could benefit from is getting the best left tackle for 10 years to replace Justin Herbert. Okay, so the first 2 teams are taking quarterback. The third team should take Penei Sewell. That's exactly what the Chargers need. God, this could work out.
I mean, if the Bengals trade down.
Oh, and I think
if someone's going to trade up in the draft, they're not going to trade up to get a left tackle. They're going to trade up to get a quarterback. So if someone trades with the Bengals at the 3rd spot, that makes it perfect for the Chargers. They don't have to move and they can get him.
I could argue the Bengals don't need a left tackle. They have Jonah Williams, the kid from Alabama, who's a terrific player. I got to tell you something. When you look at the Chargers, what do they need on that roster? A left tackle to protect Herbert for a decade. Wow.
This draft's going to be something. So the Chiefs moved into the top spot in the AFC with the Steelers lost to the Bills, and with only the 1 seed getting a bye this season. Patrick Mahomes knows how crucial it is to hold on to that position.
It is important. We believe that no matter what happened, we would have a chance to find ways to win football games and make our run. But obviously, to be in the number 1 seed now, I mean, you got to make sure you hold on to it, get that bye, make sure you have everybody healthy, everybody ready to go. And then in the AFC, you're going to play a great team no matter who you play. And we're excited for it. We're excited to be able to control our own destiny.
So their remaining schedule is at the Saints, Falcons, and the Chargers. The Steelers' remaining schedules at the Bengals, Colts, and at the Browns. But even if the Steelers win out, the Chiefs would only need to win one of their remaining NFC matchups. So they'd have to beat the Falcons or the Saints and beat the Chargers in week 17 to clinch the number 1 seed. So they basically have to go 2-1, but they obviously have to beat the Chargers. Steelers, obviously, we're going to assume they're going to beat the Bengals. And the Colts and the Browns are not gimme games. So this is looking like it's set up for the Chiefs to get the number 1 seed, which makes things so different for the Steelers this year, because not only is that bye very valuable and there's only one of them, the Steelers' bye week was a long time ago. So they're going to have been playing game after game after game with no rest and then have to go on a playoff run. So
also, Joy, who's the best coach in the NFL off a bye? Andy Reid. So good luck to the team that faces the best team in the football off a bye with maybe schematically the best coach we've had in 20 years, Andy Reid.
Yeah, and it's set up for them to do that. So Mike McCarthy's first year with the Cowboys was a little disappointing. There's been some speculation that they might not stick with him and he'd be a one and done. But Stephen Jones put any rumors about that to rest for Dallas in 2021.
No, there'll be absolutely no change with Coach McCarthy. You know, if you look at his track record and his pedigree, he's consistently won year in and year out. And we have the utmost confidence that this ship is going to be righted quickly. And Mike's going to be the leader of this group, and he's certainly a great head coach.
This morning, Jerry Jones also said it was ridiculous to think that they'd be making a head coaching change.
In fairness to Mike McCarthy, since the bye, Goulet, I know you're a hater on the Cowboys, but since the bye, they've been a limited team based on offensive line injuries and Andy Dalton. But since the bye, they've beaten Minnesota, they've beaten Cincinnati, they gave Pittsburgh a real game. Let's be honest, let's be fair with the Cowboys. There was pre-bye, fire everybody. Post-bye, you're like, well, if you put Dak in a healthier left tackle, you win 8-9 games.
Since the bye, they've only been blown out twice.
John, you always go to the negative. They've also got a win over Minnesota, a win over Cincinnati.
Well, he isn't his first year. He lost his franchise quarterback.
Thank you.
It's a COVID year.
O-line's a mess.
The O-line's a disaster, and so is the defense. Now, you could argue that he's responsible for any side of the ball being a mess, but he can't control Dak. He can't control COVID. If you look at the coaching records for teams with first-year coaches, Kevin Stefanski's 9-4, Ron Rivera is 6-7, Joe Judge is 5-8, and Mike McCarthy